wanted to read this presentation to Parliament by the Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs and Minister for Women and Equalities. So this was presented on the 29th of October, and the minister in question is Liz Truss. I began to talk about it in the previous, or the one before the last. Well, anyway, one of the streams I did today. So this woman is both Foreign Secretary and Minister for Women and Equalities. So she's a very powerful woman indeed. I mean, Foreign Secretary is one of the cabinet posts that would get you, well, that would count as being part of your qualifications to become Prime Minister. It's Foreign Secretary, it's Chancellor, Home Secretary, and maybe Education Secretary, because that's quite a hard job. You don't give it to stupid people. But maybe Minister for Women might be considered for, I don't know, a kind of non-cabinet post or something. That's the impression I get. I mean, what do I know? I mean, everything's changing so quickly now. I mean, it would be funny if the Minister for Women and Equalities is a man, wouldn't it? I mean, is there a reason why a man can't be Minister for Women? And then maybe they can be a Minister for Men, and it would be a woman. Anyway, I thought I'd read the ministerial statement, so because it's a quicker way for me to understand it. I haven't read it before. I think I read the first paragraph in the previous stream. But anyway, for the sake of completeness, I will begin with the ministerial foreword. The United Kingdom is a global leader on LGBT rights and is committed to banning the coercive and abhorrent practice of conversion therapy. I didn't know about it being coercive and abhorrent. Do you get forced into doing it? And if you're not being forced, why would it be abhorrent? It continues, we want every individual to have the freedom to be themselves, and proposals have been developed with the protection of LGBT people in mind. The proposals we are bringing forward in this consultation are intended to ensure that everyone in this country is protected through both criminal and civil measures. Protected from what? Having their sexuality questioned? What is the harm of having our sexuality questioned? Is it harmful if we're straight and somebody wants us to be gay? Or vice versa? Well, nobody's offering to protect straight people from being converted into being gay. So why should... Well, I mean, if we feel strongly enough about our sexuality, then we're just going to stay exactly where we are, however much people complain and want us to be the other thing, right? To continue, our proposed package of measures includes legislating to introduce a new criminal offence and to ensure that conversion therapy is recognised appropriately when it is the motivation for an existing crime. I just don't understand this sentence at all. To ensure that conversion therapy is recognised appropriately. when it is the motivation for an existing crime. What existing crime? It's very exasperating when they use language like this and nobody really knows what they're on about. It continues, this is a robust, effective and proportionate policy that will have a demonstrable impact on the ground. Liz Truss continues, I am also proposing a number of further civil measures to make sure that the ban is effective, including conversion therapy protection orders, restricting promotion, removing profit streams, and strengthening the case for disqualification from holding a senior role in a charity. My goodness. So somebody could slap a conversion therapy protection order on your adolescent who is not quite 18, who thinks he or she may be gay, who may be being seduced by somebody. And then she talks about restricting the promotion of conversion therapy, presumably. Removing profit streams, so it makes sure that you can promote your conversion therapy as much as you like, but you're not going to make any money out of it. Disincentivizing the promotion of conversion therapy, and strengthening the case for disqualification from holding a senior role in a charity. So if you are a charity promoting conversion therapy, Liz Truss is going to make damn sure that your charity will not be paid and the person will be removed from the charity. She continues, we will also be launching a support service for victims that will offer help and assistance to those who have been through or are at great risk of conversion therapy. Victims, eh? Victims of seduction, so there you are, somebody who's not sure about your sexuality, and then you have somebody saying, have sex with me, and a member of the opposite sex, and then you have somebody of the same sex saying, have sex with me, and the government is saying, on the whole, it would be better for you to have sex with the person whose sex you share. No, that seems to be the position. She continues, this administration is the first UK government to commit to providing such support. We will be launching a competitive tendering process in November for a new government-funded support service for victims and those at risk of conversion therapy. Victims of what? Victims of somebody saying, well, maybe you shouldn't be gay because maybe mum and dad would like grandchildren. That kind of victim? This is very sinister, isn't it? I want to reassure those who may have concerns about the impact of this ban on clinicians' independence as well as on freedom of speech. Yeah. People's personal freedoms are key to the health and functioning of a democratic society, such as freedom of choice, freedom of speech and belief, and are central to my proposals. It is also vitally important that no person is forced or coerced into conversion therapy, and that young people are supported in exploring their identity without being encouraged towards one particular path. This is especially the case for those who are under 18 and where this might result in an irreversible decision. How can it be irreversible, assuming that we can, in theory anyway, have sex with people of either sex? These proposals therefore do not alter the existing clinical regulatory framework or the independence of regulated clinicians working within their professional obligations. I think it would, I think it would alter the existing clinical regulatory framework and have an impact on the independence of regulated clinicians working within their professional obligations. This is very disturbing. The proposed protections are universal, an attempt to change a person from being attracted to the same sex to being attracted to the opposite sex, or from not being transgender to being transgender, will be treated in the same way as the reverse scenario. They therefore protect everyone. It's a lie. It's a lie. How can they do that? The government is proud to champion equality for LGBT people everywhere, and I look forward to hosting Safe to Be Me, a global equality conference which will take place in June 2022, coinciding with the 50th anniversary of the first official London Pride marches. This global event will be the first of its kind in the UK, bringing together governments, policy experts and international organisations who advocate for human rights to discuss how to combat the violence and discrimination faced by LGBT people around the world. I will be proud to share our work to ban conversion therapy at the conference with all our international counterparts and to work with partners to end these practices across the world. As well as hosting Safe to Be Me, a global equality conference, this government has continuously championed LGBT rights and built upon our status as a global leader. In January 2020, we introduced same-sex marriage in Northern Ireland to ensure every citizen in the United Kingdom can be free to marry. We also rolled out the HIV prevention drug PrEP on NHS in England, making it available across the country, benefiting tens of thousands of people and driving us towards our ambition of zero new HIV transmissions by 2030. And we have already reduced the fee for and are digitising the process of applying for gender recognition certificate in order to make the process kinder and simpler. What is going on? Well, how much does it cost anyway to get a gender recognition certificate? Cost. It's now a £5. It used to be 140 quid and now it's a £5. Oh my God. Less than a pack of cigarettes. Anyone can apply for one now, it seems. She continues, in developing the proposals in this consultation, we have listened to citizens and organisations with a full range of perspectives on how best to ban conversion therapy in an effective and proportionate way. I would like to encourage everyone with an interest to respond to this consultation and will ensure that all responses are considered in the development of legislation that is being prepared for spring 2022. The Right Honourable Elizabeth Truss. Introduction. The government will ban conversion therapy. There is no justification for these coercive and abhorrent practices, and the evidence is clear that it does not work. It does not change a person from being LGBT and can cause long-lasting damage to those who go through it. We are committed to building a society in which conversion therapy no longer takes place. Our intention is to bring forward a ban in the criminal law. that is supported by additional civil interventions that will ensure these practices are ended. Our approach has been built on a detailed assessment of the existing legislative framework to identify gaps that currently allow conversion therapy to continue. Having identified gaps in the law, we have developed a practical package of civil and criminal measures to put a stop to these coercive and abhorrent practices. We are determined to deliver a conversion therapy ban that protects people from these practices. Our proposals are universal and protect everyone, whatever their sexual orientation and whether they are transgender or not. An attempt to change a person from being attracted to the same sex to being attracted to the opposite sex will be treated in the same way as the reverse scenario. This is also the case should a person try to change another person from being transgender or to being transgender. It is important that a person experiencing gender dysphoria is able to openly explore what works for them without feeling pressured into any particular outcome. The government is determined to ensure that no person is put on a clinical pathway that is not right for them, and that young people are supported in exploring their identity without being encouraged towards one particular path. Forcing or coercing a person into this position would be considered conversion therapy. It is the duty of the government to keep its citizens safe while also protecting the vital values that underpin our democratic society, such as freedom of speech, freedom of belief, and privacy. There's so many sentences like this, aren't there? I really love you, but I'm going to take a few shots at your head. That kind of statement. I don't want to hurt you, but I will be chopping your head off. You know, it's that kind of stuff that we're getting, I feel anyway. Our proposals protect these while being an effective means of ending the coercive and abhorrent practice of conversion therapy. The government is also keen to ensure that the police, prosecutors, and statutory services recognise and act on the problem. By introducing a ban, statutory services will also be expected to develop policy frameworks that recognise conversion therapy as a problem and the challenges faced by victims coming forward, and to provide training for how to protect people from these practices. The government will work with the relevant public authorities in order to develop this guidance and to ensure that our legislative interventions operate as intended. We will consider further refinements to our proposals as we move through consultation and into the process of developing a draft bill in the new year. It is of paramount importance to this government that the approach we develop protects people from these practices. Our existing criminal law framework means that conversion therapy amounting to offences of physical or sexual violence is already illegal in this country. However, we have identified gaps that allow other types of conversion therapy to continue. Having identified these gaps in the law, we are determined to close them. To do so, we are taking the following action to introduce new criminal and civil measures. Targeting talking conversion therapy committed against under 18s under any circumstance, or committed against those aged 18 or over who have not consented or due to their vulnerability are unable to do so, with a new criminal offence. Consent requirements for adults seeking out talking therapy will be robust and stringent. Are you getting frightened yet? Targeting physical acts conducted in the name of conversion therapy by legislating to ensure this sinister motivation for violence is considered by the judge as a potential aggravating factor upon sentencing. producing a holistic package of measures such as conversion therapy, protection orders, support for victims, restricting promotion, removing profit streams, and strengthening the case for disqualification from holding a senior role in a charity. In the development of our approach, we have liaised closely with the devolved administrations. Our approach is for England and Wales only. However, we welcome responses to this consultation from the whole of the UK and will share these with the respective administrations. While we have engaged subject matter experts with a wide range of perspectives extensively throughout the development of our policy, this consultation marks the start of our formal public engagement. The government recognises that it has taken time to get to this point. Yes, half a century of feminism. However, our focus has always been on how we ban these practices, not if, and the launch of this consultation marks a significant step in its delivery. It is the government's intention to deliver a ban as quickly as possible, and we will be preparing a draft bill for spring 2020. In addition to our intention to legislate, we are introducing a package of support to ensure victims of conversion therapy can find and access support they need, and increase awareness amongst frontline professionals of the potential damage these practices can cause. We are working with our partners around the world to end the violence and discrimination faced by LGBT people, which will be a key objective of the Safe to Be Me Global Equality Conference taking place in June 2022. We are grateful to the victims of conversion therapy who have shared their experiences with us. The UK continues to be recognised as one of the top 10 most progressive countries for LGBT rights by ILGA Europe. We have been one of the world's strongest legislative frameworks to prevent and tackle discrimination. This ban will continue to build our standing on these issues. So the UK is one of the 10 most sexually liberated countries in the whole wide world. I guess Holland would be the other one. I can tell from the way Conops is posting comments. Background to conversion therapy. Prevalence and nature of conversion therapy. The National LGBT Survey 2017 found that 5% of respondents said they had been offered conversion or reparative therapy in an attempt to cure them of being LGBT, and a further 2% said they had undergone it. Government Equalities Office 2018. Young people aged 16 and 17 years old also responded and reported that they had experienced or were offered conversion therapy, which suggests that conversion therapy is a live and not just historical issue. Generating a robust estimate of how prevalent conversion therapy is requires accurate data. Researchers focus on surveys of the LGBT population who may be experiencing conversion therapy. The very idea. However, this is challenging and relies on self-reporting. Estimating prevalence is also complicated by the small samples involved. This can lead to a number of data quality issues. In an attempt to correct for potential sample bias in the National LGBT Survey and ensure that the data on conversion therapy would be more accurately reflect the UK population as a whole, weighting was carried... Oh, this is boring, isn't it? Anyway. Anyway, you get the idea. So, maybe this is the best way of getting Muslims to quit the country, right? You know, it's like, no, we didn't come here or, just to have our children, our grandchildren, our descendants turn gay. So we better go back to, our Muslim shithole countries. So off we go. That's probably better than anything the NF could do. So maybe that's really, the whole plan of it. To get rid of Muslims by threatening to convert their children well, by completely removing parental authority, saying, yes, your kid may be under 18 and you may want grandchildren and your kid is going gay or thinking of becoming a member of the opposite sex, but you're not allowed to stop them, and if you do, we will consider you a criminal. Yeah, I think that will send them back to wherever they came from pretty sharpish. Talking conversion therapy, that might be. Can't even talk to them now. Can't even say, but darling, I would like some grandchildren. You're my only child. Would you mind terribly not being gay, please? That would turn you into what? A speech criminal for remonstrating with your only child. Yeah, looks like the government doesn't want us to breed. It's tired of governing us. Maybe it's tired of our hatred for our government, and basically they just want us to not really have offspring. We can think about it, but we're not. Everything is being done to discourage us from getting married or even having reproductive sex. Really quite shocking. I've never, heard of such a thing. I mean, okay, I might have read a bit of science fiction and controlling or coercive behaviour is also an abusive behaviour under Section 1 of the Domestic Abuse Act 2021. So you don't even have to be violent, you just, have to be controlling or coercive. So, so it would be kind of, speech crime. Can't tell your kid anything. You can't nag them, right? The behaviour must take place repeatedly and continuously. This means the behaviour must have taken place on 2 or more occasions. So you can only say it twice. No, you can't even say it more than once, because if you say it twice, this behaviour is deemed to have taken place repeatedly or continuously, and then you become a speech criminal. Wow. Well, I think all the immigrants will just be fucking off back home to their... Wow. The offence of controlling or coercive behaviour previously or only captured behaviour between current intimate partners or between former intimate partners and family members who lived together, who were deemed to be personally connected. Okay, I suppose you live with your intimate partner and you don't want them to be gay, or you don't want them to go straight, and you said, please don't, don't be gay, because I love you and I'm a member of the opposite sex and I don't want you to go, and then you're not allowed to do that. or you're gay. It's like, no, 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 my gay sex partner, please don't leave me. Please remain lesbian or gay, or, you know, and don't be heterosexual. And apparently that's not allowed. Wow, this is obviously a lawyer's charter. Wow. Honestly, I never could have conceived of such a thing. Really scary. I mean, you don't even want to live here anymore, do you? I mean, this is what they're going to do to your children. And they're saying, yeah, you have children. Your children aren't yours. You can't even tell them off. You can't even reason with them. Or you're for it. So I guess all the non-whites, they'll just, fuck off back to their own countries, leaving the whites to it, to their, bans on conversion therapy and stuff like that. So they can, I don't know, do the opposite of going forth and multiplying. There's a lot of mention of being harmful and offensive and being misleading. And it'll have some... Oh. Wow. I do advise you all to read it for yourself. Just to... It's quite long, so that's why I'm skipping so much of it. Because I'm so shocked. Proposal for conversion therapy protection orders. Now this is a new level of horror. In order to safeguard a victim or potential victim from conversion therapy, we are exploring introducing conversion therapy protection orders. A conversion therapy protection order could set out certain conditions to protect a person from undergoing the practice. This could be actions such as requirements that no one could be specific person or persons arranges for a person under 18 to undergo conversion therapy, and if age 18 or over without their consent, ensuring the passport or means of travel is removed from the person to be protected so they cannot be forced or coerced to go abroad to receive conversion therapy for over 18s. This is only likely to occur in extreme circumstances. Any requirement that the court considers necessary to protect the person for whose protection the order is made requirement includes any prohibition or restriction, for example, a stay a certain distance from the person at all times. Each order would be tailored depending on the needs of the victim and the decision made by the court after reviewing the case. The respondent or potential perpetrator, if not in court, would be notified as soon as possible about the terms within the order and obliged to adhere to them. Wow. I think this is really aimed at Muslims and Asians. They'll be... Well, I wonder how many of them will kind of read the writing on the wall and start packing their bags. I mean, this is worse than the NF coming to power, right? Ensuring charities do not support conversion therapy. you do that, that will you be kicked out and not able to be in a senior management role in any charity if you step on the wrong side of this law. So all the people in senior positions will be towing the line. Wow. I can't believe, it's a Conservative government who's doing this, right? A criminal conviction. Yeah, so basically they're going to, criminalise you and then say, because of your criminal record, we're going to say it's in the public interest to disqualify you from that charity, ensuring nobody can profit from a conversion therapy. Taking international leadership. I'm a little curious about which are the top 10 most, I guess the kind of vying for to be, the top 10 Sodom and Gomorrah countries of the world, right? ILGA Europe. We want to know which is the gayest country in the world, in Europe anyway. Don't worry, Conops, you'll be there. Rainbow Europe. Ooh. The human rights situation for LBGTI people. What's the I now? I don't even know. Intersex. Lots of interesting pictures. Yeah, I think, the Muslims will be leaving in droves, leaving you lot to deal with this sort of thing. There isn't a top 10 that I can find, a top 10 list of. Oh, maybe this link will give it to me. It is rather chilling, I must say. Oh, it's got 124 pages. I just want the gayest countries in Europe, and they've just got, there's no top 10. There's a list of. Okay, well, you guys can read it yourselves. It's all got, the EU thing, so the EU is also behind this. So very sad, very sad. I mean, just see what else it's going to. What further horrors this long document has. It's nearly finished. Okay, well, I think it's pretty conclusive that it's pretty much over for Western civilization, and anybody who came to the West hoping to improve their lot and should leave. They should leave. Yeah, I bet if I read all of it, it would, maybe take me 2 hours, so I'm not going to do that. No, thank you all for listening. I'm glad I tried to do it. My blood has been appropriately chilled by all these proposals. And those of you who want, these Muslims and non-whites gone, I guess you'll be closer to your wish.